everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be talking about books that I don't think should be adapted into movies or TV. This idea was suggested to me by Ash from Ash's Adventures in Books, so thank you very much, Ash, for the suggestion. I will link her channel along with anyone else that I talk about in the description below. You should go and check her plus their channels out and yeah, subscribe and do all that stuff. So the other day I was feeling a little bit less than creative, but I knew that I would be filming now this afternoon because it's my designated filming time and I wasn't sure what I wanted to film. So I put a tweet and something on the community tab just saying, what do you think? And Ash came back with the suggestion that I do this, and I thought that sounded really interesting, so here we are. The idea behind this video is pretty straightforward. Basically, I'm going to talk about some books that I actually don't think would be very good if they were adapted into another form of media for one reason or another. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's just dive straight in. The first book or series of books that I want to talk about is actually the Realm of the Elderling series by Robin Hobb. So if you guys have been around for any length of time on this channel, you'll know that it is one of my favourite series of all time. I absolutely love Robin Hobb's writing style, her characters, her world building. It's all just completely phenomenal. However, I don't think that it would get translated very well into TV or movies. If it was going to be adapted into anything, I think it should be adapted into a long-running television program. But even then, I just don't think it would be as good in that media as it is in a book. The main reason for that is the character of the Fool, and I don't want to get into spoilers in case you haven't read the series, but anyway, that particular character I feel like would not necessarily translate very well into film, into TV. I feel like the people who made it would have to have a really strong understanding of the world, what Robin Hobb was doing, and what that character represented. And I feel like they could very easily misconstrue the character or mishandle the character, or some of the lack of determination about that character would be misrepresented and handled poorly. So that's the main reason why I don't think this series should be adapted. But the secondary reason is because as much as I do love a lot of different adaptations, and there are adaptations that I think are just amazing and brilliantly done, with the exception of season 8, which we don't talk about, I loved Game of Thrones. I thought that was incredibly well done, and I thought the changes that were made in such a way that worked with the story and worked with having it in that sort of format rather than as a book. I do equate those two series, so the Robin Hobb series and the Game of Thrones series, not necessarily because they are very similar, but I think that they have similar writing styles. Yeah. So that's kind of why I brought that up. The point is, I know that there can be amazing adaptations that can be incredibly faithful to the original and also can make changes that actually, if not improve the story, at least the changes don't detract from the story. But I just don't think that, I think Robin Hobb's story is too rich and too in-depth, and there's too much going on. Also, I think it would be confusing because it's actually series within series, particularly when you go from the Farseer trilogy into the Live Ship Traders trilogy, and it feels very much like you're not in the same world. Even though you figure out that you are, it's incredibly different characters, it's even written in a very different way. So yeah, I'm just not sure that it would be done very well, and I would be extremely nervous about it. So that's my first answer to the question. The next series that I don't think would translate very well into TV or film, I don't actually remember what the name of the trilogy is, but it is the trilogy, the first trilogy, First Law. That's the name of the trilogy. The First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I just think that it depends on what filming company and what producer and director and of course what actors they had, but I don't think Hollywood in particular handles the grey characters, the morally grey characters that are in that series very well. I don't think that they really know how to do morally grey characters, and I think that they would try rather to have villains that get redemption arcs rather than the true morally grey character like Glockter. Now, granted, I have only read the first one. However, I still stand by that opinion. I just don't think that you would be able to find the combination of acting, producing, directing, and overall understanding of the text that would produce that true sense of the morally grey. So I don't think that would do very well if it were put into film or put into TV. Again, I think that if it were going to be put into either medium, it would have to be TV, because I think there are too many things happening in that series for it to translate into a movie very well, but I just don't think it would do very well. The next series that I don't think would translate very well into film or TV is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I think partly because of the use of the second person perspective, I think that would be something that would be quite difficult to do well. And again, I think that if you're going to do that, you would need very specific production company, very specific actors, people who really understood the material and who really had a passion for the material. I feel like there is a lot in that series as well. It is having a lot of important conversations around society and the structure of society, around prejudice, around racism, around the way that we set up certain institutions, around the way that we treat the earth. And I feel like movies in particular, but even TV, the way that it's structured is that oftentimes there tends to need to be maybe 1 or 2, 3 at the very most kind of core ideas or core principles being addressed. And I feel like the Broken Earth trilogy does many all at once incredibly well, but I don't know that a television program would do it very well. There are some topics within those books that I don't think are well understood by sort of, I guess, society at large, and would potentially, for the sake of making a series that they're trying to make reach out to a really wide audience, it would potentially either be changed too much that it misses the point, or would not, or just be missed altogether, would just be cut out. And I think that would do disservice to what N.K. Jemisin was talking about and trying to show. And yeah, I just think it's too of an in-depth and there's too much going on. There's too much meat. And it's not to say that TV and movies can't have important conversations, can't have important discussions, can't address issues, and should address issues, but I just feel that the combination of what N.K. Jemisin is talking about and the way that she has structured the world and the fantasy tropes and mechanisms that she uses wouldn't translate very well to film and would be sort of missed or potentially mismanaged, and I just would hate for that to happen because it's an incredible series. And the final book that I don't think would translate very well into a TV or movie medium is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, mostly because The Night Circus is a lot more about feels and vibes than it is about storyline that is a direct storyline, and I don't think that TV and movies do very well with those sorts of books that are very much vibes. Not to say that they haven't done that, and not to say that there aren't examples of that being done well and being fun. The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one that springs to mind. I thought that was really interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff being played with, a lot of philosophy and psychology being played with in that movie, which I thought was done really, really well. But again, you'd have to be very careful about who you cast, who you got to produce and direct, and I just think that there would not be enough of a to B to C plot for that type of medium, and I feel like the people creating a movie version or a TV version would input something there that wouldn't necessarily fit, or would go against, not even go against, but just wouldn't necessarily fit with the overall kind of vibe of the book. So yeah, those are the books or series that I don't think would translate particularly well into a filmed medium, whether that be TV or movie. Please comment below any ideas that you might have about books or series that you don't think would translate into movie or TV medium very well. On the other hand, please comment below if there are some that you think would actually translate really, really well and that you would like to see created. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me a camera emoji, because we are talking about adapting into film. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.